Hey guys, Martin here from TSI. What do we got? No, it's not a Smith & Wesson, but it is a new polymer style pistol. But this is gel ball. This is one of the new from Azrael's Armory XTP gas blowback CO2 gel ball pistol. So I'm going to run you quickly through a little bit about it, and then also we're going to look at the magazines and a few holster options. So we've got the new pistol here in the box. Again, not the box it came with. Freshly landed in Australia just yesterday, I believe. This one is the semi-automatic only XTP that I got this from Azrael's Armory. Now, what I'm really liking about these is they are a true to form, full-size semi-automatic pistol. Yes, there is full automatic variants. Obviously, it's gas blowback gel ball. To be honest, I went with the semi-automatic purely because didn't really feel the need for automatic. And I know that if I put it on auto, it's just going to blow a heap of gas pretty quickly. What we're finding so far, that they're pretty good on gas usage, getting around about 60 gels, 45 to 60 gels, I would say, per capsule. Now, I'll explain that in a second, but that is pretty good. That's better than I get out of a CO2 pistol, which in theory should be higher quality. Yes, the CO2 pistol is higher pressure, so high FPS, but much the same, that seals down the barrel better than a gel ball will as well. So let's have a little look at the gun. The gel blaster, sorry. I'll take the O-light off there just because that's obviously not actually part of the pistol. So this is the same frame as you'll see on the Azrael Shark, which is another variant, as I said, which is the automatic that would have a button here. This particular one is quite a nice grip, little finger grooves in there, and a little flared magwell. I'm going to go around and stipple this just for fun. Slight undercut on the trigger guard. I'm actually going to add some more to that so that my finger sits here a little bit nicer. It does have an ambidextrous safety on here. As you can see, it's on both sides. That won't be used. I'll just put that out there. And it does have a Glock style slide catch. The sights are an interesting kind of setup. Kind of like a half triangle-y evil angry eye at the back, but it's essentially a 3-dot sight. Now, let's look a little bit at the actual what's going on and what's most important with this video. Now, that's in the magazines. Now, the magazines are CO2. They use the 12-gram capsules that are readily used in, as I said before, CO2 air pistols and air rifles. Now, this one here, particular one, is a Crossman. These are the better ones that I've used over the years in the air pistol. And I do know that Azrael has got a generic brand, if you want to call it that, but they're getting just the same pressures. So where these have been brilliant over the years in the air pistol, the others are just as good, which is really good news. These go inside the magazine. So what happens is the pistol comes with a few bits and pieces, comes with an extra back strap here to replace that one for a bigger hand. It comes with a big Allen key, and it comes with an extra O-ring. Now I'll show you what the O-ring's for in a second, and I'll show you what the Allen key's for. So, the CO2 magazine has a little pull down tab on the front here. Pull that down and the cover slides straight off. That actually reveals the brass pressure nut. Now, as you'll see, that's got the Allen key head on it. Like that. Undo it and off she comes. What I have started doing almost straight away is lube with silicon-based oil or grease. I'm actually using a straight up silicon only gun oil. This is Slip 2000. Slip 2000 do make an airsoft specific, but it's not going to be readily available here. Pretty much all the gun cleaning brands make silicon only oils. Because the O-rings that are in the magazines under this nut are not, or more than likely not, petroleum-based safe. So if you use a petroleum-based oil or lubricant, it might eat away at that seal, then you have gas pressure problems. So what I have started to do immediately, even from brand new mags, is I just put a drip of oil so it runs down the brass. That way, as soon as I undo it, it is actually going to lube my O-ring. The risk is I don't want the O-ring catching. Come on, focus. I don't want the O-ring catching down in this opening. So as I undo it, it should just work its way out, no problem. And it's smooth as butter because I lubed it. You can see the O-ring sitting here. You probably can't focus on it because it's clear. That's what needs to be greased or lubricated. Now the capsule drops in blunt nose first, so you've got the pointy end sticking up. If ever you forget, have a look inside the cap. You'll see it's got the little piercing point in here. That is to pierce this end, like that. Drop your capsule in. Now I'm going to add another little spot of oil to my threads, so I know the whole thing is going to be nicely slicked and Slip 2000 as this goes in. Very, very important. With this being brass, it will cross thread easily. Brass and alloy or steel, whatever the fitting is in there, the brass will cross thread easily. It's a soft metal. It won't take much for it to jump the wrong way. So just be cautious, making sure it's not scratchy and it's not grabby. If it feels like it's grabbing, it's probably cross-threading, but this is going in dead easy. Beautiful. You'll start to feel a bit of tension. That's where it's going to start pushing down on that capsule to pierce it. So at that point, you probably want to turn it reasonably quickly so that it pierces and locks it in. This is where I want to highlight something. Inside here, you can just see the O-ring sitting a little bit proud. If I didn't have oil or grease on there, that will more than likely grab at that point and possibly tear the O-ring or pinch it or crack it, just damage the seal. That's essentially straight up off the bat, you're going to need your replacement one. Don't fear, Azrael have got a lot of these if anything goes wrong. So we're going to get a good hold of the magazine. Our fingers are a little bit slippery from the oil, and we're just going to crank it down. Ready? You won't have heard it. There was a tiny psst noise, but it straight away sealed the magazine off. That's gone nice and tight already. Give it a little bit of a crank down. Don't go too much. Pull your Allen key out, and we're ready. Now the base cap should slide straight back on. They've got little grooves and rails. Slide it straight back on. If you find it hits here and won't actually allow it to go on, you need to actually see how it's popped it off the rail. It's not going to line up. I need to actually tighten my Allen key a little bit more. It's not going to be much. That tells you your depth. Still need to go a little bit more. Once that sits so that the cap slides over like that, straight into place and click. Your little receiver click will seat in there. Don't know if you can get any light in there, and it'll go on. That's the magazine ready to roll. All loaded up with gas, obviously no gels. The gels to load go in this wider section here. This is obviously a gel specific. This is a wider channel than it ever was as an airsoft magazine. Pull this little follower down, it's spring loaded. Pull the follower down to the bottom, and then you feed the gels in just there. 14 or 15 gels go in, and it, fills up to the top. My suggestion is don't just let go, because that might chip a gel or crush a gel. You want the gels to be perfect, not damaged, not nicked. If you find one that's cracked or split, it's more than likely going to come out as mush. It's just going to explode it as soon as the air pressure's on it. Now, once that goes into the blaster, it won't do anything until you rack the slide to both reset the trigger and also to get some gas up into the chamber. Now, I don't have any gels in here, so if I fire it without holding the mag release down, it will lock back, or should lock back, as if it's a empty magazine. So we'll wrap the slide, lock back. I need to pull the thumb lever down on this side, and it should now fire. But again, it will lock back. Ready? It will lock back. I need to hold this button down to be able to repeat fire it. So let's do it on this side. If I hold the button down, as if I have gels in the magazine, and fire it with my thumb. Whoa, what have I done? Didn't lock it back enough. All right, so you get a little bit of vapor at the back, a little bit of vapor at the front, but we get a fairly decent bit of travel out of the thing. Now, one other thing, the XTP, being it's not a Glock design, to take it down, you push this pin through. Now, you'll need something fairly sturdy. I've just been using the end of the Allen key. Literally push it using the point to push the pin in enough to be able to grab it from the other side. Now, this one is still super stiff. I haven't been able to do it by hand. So at home, I just grabbed a pair of side cutters. Just literally pop it underneath it, just pry it up enough gently so I could get my fingers behind it, pop it out like so. To get the slide off, you need to have your magazine out, pull it back, and then just retract it forward. Inside our slide should come from the factory with a little bit of lube and grease in there, as should the top of the trigger group and the frame rail, slide frame rail here. But while you've got your lube out, just a dab and a dab, a dab and a dab. When it comes to the slide, at this end, so we're talking the back end of the slide, not the front side, same as a real firearm, I put a dab of oil at the end of that rail, a dab of oil at the end of that rail. So what happens is when you turn it upside down and slide this onto the frame, that oil you put in here is going to slide all the way through the rails. Let's go back in, line up your rails front and back, all the way in till it gets to the back, take it through, release it so it lines up, and then push your pin back in. We're done. Freshly lubed, give it a little bit of a slidey. Here's our magazine, back in, rack it, and we're away. This one I haven't chronographed, but I do know that Shannon and Brand and the boys at Azrael have run some over the chrono. They've been averaging that high 270, 285s. Pretty consistent, but like anything gel ball, it's gel specific. So if you get an undersized gel, it's going to chrono less because it's not sealing down the barrel. One thing, if anyone's asking, yes, they come with a stainless barrel. People are also asking, are there hop-ups available? Yes, of course there are hop-ups. Azrael have been working alongside the development of the Shark and the XTP for the last 12 months. The Muzzle Tech screw-on hop-up. These come with an orange cap, reverse thread to get it out. So if you're holding it, we turn it clockwise to unscrew it. It's normally lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. Reverse thread is righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. That will be a Muzzle Tech to screw in here that has the hop-up inside it. Now, they were available and ready to go as of today, but Unfortunately, these came from the factory as the production model, with the inner barrel around about 1 millimeter longer, 1 millimeter, than the prototype variants that Brent had been working on to develop it all. Unfortunately, that 1 millimeter longer barrel means the muzzle tech needs to have 1 millimeter shaved off the internal to get that perfect fitment to this barrel, the stainless barrel. So Azrael will be working to make sure they are sorted this week. So anyone that's pre-ordered or wants to get a hop-up for one can get one ASAP. We literally found out that they didn't fit at around about 4 p.m. on Saturday, with these to be released 9 a.m. Sunday morning. We did not have time to drill any to be able to try and get them to fit perfectly. We could drill it with a drill and hope to get it perfect, but you cannot risk it having a 0.5 millimeter gap. If your gel hits that gap, you lose pressure, you lose accuracy. Needs to be correct. That's why Azrael's going to get them back on the CNC machine where they were made and have them just opened up enough to seat perfectly. Just want to talk quickly a little bit about holster options. Personally, with me being an IPSC shooter, I've been playing with just my IPSC holster rig. So my mag pouches, they have magnets inside to hold the mags. And this particular holster is a Black Hawk Serpa. You can get 1,000,001 Serpa style holsters on eBay or online. They're one of the ones with the retention lock as you push it with your finger and pull the firearm up. Now, this is for a Glock 17, 19 or 26. It is a short variant, actually for a 26, but it works just fine for the XTP and also for sharks. The gun blaster is locked in. You can't get it out until you press the button here and pull up. So it's actually an absolutely perfect fit. Trigger guard is completely covered, which is a firearm requirement. And push it, and out it comes. So that's what I'm going to be using at the Azrael Arena. Other holsters I've got that I use regularly. This is for my Smith & Wesson M&P. This is an Uncle Mike's polymer injection holster. Doesn't work for the XTP, simply because the XTP has the frame mounted safety. There is no cutout here for it, being an M&P. But the Glock normally has the takedown lever there, so it does work. For guys wanting to use a tack light on there, like the Olight Valkyrie 2, that if any of you have read TSI Magazine, you'll have seen this one come up. On my battle belt, I have a Condor universal holster. Now this can be adjusted to suit tack light, no tack light, whatever you want. You can change your depth, you change your retention. This one is set up basically for any pistol. It just slides on in with the light on there, straight on down. I've got the thumb brake over the top if I am running around, and I do actually have an elastic tether that I can put on there as well. If it's a quick draw, you grab the tether, off you come, hit your thumb, and out you come. Now this does a few things. This holster is protecting everything. Nothing is exposed bar the grip and obviously the mag base. It will be up against my pouch here. I have actually intentionally done it so out in the field I can tuck it behind the pouch behind if I wanted to, but it won't. It'll live like that. Thumb brake and out onto the light. So this holster is available locally from Global Tactical Solutions, GTs. Hey Carl, how you doing? Off the top of my head, I think they're about 50 bucks. Condor make very good products at really good prices. There isn't many variants like this that are the wraparound style. This will suit Berettas, P1s, Glocks, whatever, because they're fully adjustable. This actually started out life as a drop leg holster, but I wanted to run it on my belt, so I've tethered it, and I've actually got a couple of tactical cable ties in here to make sure that it cannot change size It's where I want it, it's how I want it, it's a permanent fixture. There is, of course, heaps of other holster options. One of the holsters that I used to use at the range and also for security work was made by a company called Safariland. About $100 holster. I do know that Azrael brought in with these a heap of holsters that are a carbon copy of the Safariland. Don't know the dollars, don't quote me, but they're not $100. They work really well. They have a finger lock. As you come up under here, you end up pushing a lever this way, which releases the firearm from the holster. So they work really, really well. They're a paddle fitment, which is like this, can go over your belt, has a little clip latch, put it over your belt, locks into place, take it off, put it on another belt. But you need to take note that it will not fit a really high belt, as in a tall belt in this dimension. Okay, this is an 1.75" dual layer competition style belt, or a duty belt. Will fit on this just fine. Azrael also have some of these style belts as well. Will only fit up to probably around about a 40-inch waist. If you're wearing a thicker belt, a 2-inch belt, the paddle holster will not go over it. It doesn't have enough clearance through here. All right, guys, well, this is my XTP, and I love it. There's other XTPs out there, but this one is mine. So far, I think I've probably got around about 10 mags through it. Today was a manic day, of course. We were at Azrael. I wasn't there all day. Hopefully, I saw a lot of you this morning. I know I saw Mark from Next Gen. Great to see you. Dan from Ozgel, Joe from TacEdge, the boys from XTAC. We had Benny from GBU. So good to have all of you there. Pleased to see you. If I didn't get to chat, I'm sorry. Busy. Thanks to Brent from Azrael, of course. Loaded myself up with 5 mags. That is definitely a requirement for me for pistol shooting style thing. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Won't go in that one very well. 5, and one day I might get a 6th to be in there. Why 6? Just because that's what I run for IPSC. An IPSC stage where you have up to, or essentially a minimum requirement of 32 shots to hit all your targets. Throw in a couple of misses, throw in a couple of tactical mag changes. You need some mags. You don't want to be picking off the floor. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I'll sign out with a picture of an XTP.